go. It's Rhythm and Soul Radio. I am Marco Nobles. We have our virtual studio open, and this week we get to introduce many of you to a band you may not be as familiar with, but you should be. They're a soul, rock, funk band out of the Boston area whose players have played with everybody. They're kind of an all-star band, and I am joined by the guitarist and band leader of the Reckoners, Johnny Trama. What's happening, sir? How are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me on, Marco.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Now, first of all, you've just released your self-titled album, The Reckoners, over the holiday. On Thanksgiving Day.
And well, we thought we'd give a gift.
Yeah. All right. Give everybody something to be thankful for, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were thankful to make it and have it be done, and the way everything works today, we just thought that was the right way to deliver something. People are gathering around, they can listen to it together and enjoy it.
Okay, all right. Now let's talk about the band. I mentioned it's kind of like an all-star band. Everybody's out of the Boston area, right?
Yeah, we're all Boston players. We've all actually, though, I am from New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up all over the Triborough area. I lived in the city. Yeah, born and raised New Yorker. But yeah, we've been transplanted up here for a while now, and the whole band is out of here.
Okay, so talk about the band. Share with everyone the members of the band. I mentioned you are the band leader, but it is an all-star cast of players.
Yes, it is. So the lead singer and our second in command, Tim Guerin, he writes the songs with me. He's probably like the true backbone alumni of the Boston music scene up here. He's been in it for decades, and what a pure talent he is. On the drums, we have Tom Airy. And on bass, we have Mark Hickox. And on keyboards, we have Darby Wolf.
And as I noticed, I mentioned everybody's kind of from the Boston music scene, but what seems to be a common thread is many of you have played with Bettye LaVette, or you played with Geils Band, or you've crossed paths playing in some of these legendary soul, rock, funk, blues bands.
Yeah, I mean, so the end of the day, we're just musicians trying to make a living, and we've been very fortunate, all of us individually, with our careers, with getting gigs, and that Boston's been a great scene in that sense. It's been like a melting pot. Like everyone kind of simmers together, and stuff comes out of it, and you land gigs that take you away from Boston, but overall, the scene here, we all kind of all know each other. We all interact with each other. I mean, that's kind of how this band came together. It was meant to be, for me, a recording project with the band. So everybody minus Tim, and then the chemistry just hit with writing songs with Tim, and all of us really enjoying being with each other, that it became a band. But it was never. I don't think we set off to actually do that at first. It's because we're all just in this pool here making music with so many different people and sharing that with each other. It's a special thing.
So at what point did you all decide to come together? Or you said it started as a recording project. So let's start there. Like when did you say, I just want to kind of record something, with these folks?
Yeah, so that it kind of came about around the pandemic. We were all kind of jumping around. Like me, Darby, and Mark were playing with Bettye LaVette. Tom Airy plays with Peter Wolf. He's done Geils Band, but he's in the Peter Wolf band. I mean, we do a lot of other gigs. I'm not going to sit here and those are just some of the cool stuff we've gotten to do. But I started writing with a couple of singer-songwriters, one being Toussaint the Liberator, and then another being Tim Guerin. And I had a couple of other people in mind. The pandemic just gave me that time to get some music out of me that was like I needed to do it for me, you know.
Hey,
Um, and everything was successful. We actually wrote a whole album with Tucson too, and
okay,
there are a few tracks out there. It was, you know, it's either under our names, or at first it was called A Band of Killers, because, you know,
okay.
thinking about it, you know, like how like the Stax and Motown days, you had the core band and the artists would come in and just work with that band, and that's what I was looking to do. So we set a vibe, and then I would, you know, do the songwriting and the arranging with whoever the artist was that we were going to work with. But before we knew it, all of a sudden, me and Tim just started writing songs, and we wrote another song, and then we wrote another song, and then we started doing some gigs, and we're like, wow, we're having fun. This, you know, it's hard
Okay.
to do one thing, trying to do like, you know, five. So we were like, well, let's just do this. Let's go after this and see what happens, you know?
Right, right. So, so all that leads to this now debut album of the Reckoners. And you mentioned Stax. Was that kind of like the influence as you kind of went through this process? Was it like the Stax bands or the Motown bands from back in the day? Was that kind of like the influence for
I
you
mean,
guys as this was developing?
it's in there. Like one of my favorite bands is the King Curtis band, uh,
Okay.
which just had, you know, and one of my favorite guitar players, Cornell Dupree, and like, but I wouldn't say it was. I love old soul music, and I also love classic rock, and
Mm,
that's kind of like what I grew up and what really made me want to be a musician. And I think
okay.
I do a lot of those things in other gigs I do, and we all do as band. You know, when we go play music with other people, like tonight I'm playing with an organ trio, like, you know, playing soul jazz, like. But there was, I think it's, I didn't necessarily say I'm going to do that, but I think all those ingredients they're just living inside of me, and they kind of, and all of us too, because that's why we play so well together. I think we all like the same things kind of unspokenly. So
Right.
playing like, we didn't mean it to be like a Stax throwback, but yet that's what we love. You know, you are what you eat sometimes, you know. um and it just kind of came out. I mean, of course, that, you know, we're middle-aged men, so we come from a different world than maybe where music's at today, but, you know, but this stuff's timeless, like.
Right, right, right. It's Rhythm and Soul Radio. We are talking with Johnny Trama, who is the guitarist and band leader for the Reckoners. Their debut album CD is or project is available now. You know, anywhere you can get your digital music. You have, you know, there's obviously the influence of you guys all coming together, and then there are others that you mentioned earlier. There are folks that have would come in and out. One of those persons who is on one of which I guess is might be classified as the lead single is Susan Tedeschi. I
Yeah,
always mess up her name. Tedeschi Took's band. Talk about how that came together.
that came about. That was all Tim. So they used to date a long, long time ago.
Wow.
Tim was like the, you know, the the lord of this whole scene up here for decades, and they dated way back when she was really young, when she was coming up, and they, you know, and they kept a friendship to this day. And when we were writing that, me and Tim were writing that song, we were like, something's missing. He's like, you know, I think Sue would sound great on this, and he hit her up, and the rest was like, it was just one, two, three. Like, we sent her the song, and she sang on it and sent it back, and everyone was like, okay, that's done.
Was that always, did that become like the centerpiece of the album, like especially with it coming together so quickly and everything? Was that kind of like the the part that you kind of was able to build the rest of the album around?
Actually, funny enough, that was more than halfway through the process.
Okay, okay.
Already done like 4 tracks, and like
Hmm.
I said, like, it get just like snowballing. Like we were like, oh yeah, I mean, and now I mean, to be honest, it went so fast. We're already into almost being done writing, not recording, but a second record. But
Nice.
yeah, but Sue coming along was, I mean, it definitely like kicked up everyone's like, I mean, that track came out really, really special, and we're really happy about it.
So, was it difficult in the recording process because all of you all are regular gigging musicians? This is what you all do, and you're not technically a band yet. You're just kind of recording stuff, so it's everybody's kind of working through schedules. How was that process?
We're we're still getting a handle on that. Uh, we just did a run this weekend, so you know we're slowly getting the band out there. We're trying to make smart choices for when we bring the band to people, and you know that actually the last run of shows this past month and the month before, it's been great. We got to actually open up for Tedeschi Trucks Band in October. Um,
Okay.
we just did an album release in our hometown at this place called the Sinclair, that was pretty big for us, and it was a great turnout, and everyone had a great time. So you know, we're being mindful. We're trying to get the music out there. We are hoping that the music speaks for us, and people like y'all find us and accept it, and that helps us get to other towns and start to move around the country a little more.
Right. And talk about that process too, because you all are all veterans of the business, and being able to work with or have relationships with Tedeschi Trucks Band and others that you might have played with individually, or talk about how that helps, because relationships always help in this industry.
Oh
But
yeah,
talk about the importance of being able to, one, let the music speak for you, but then also say, hey, if you know somebody in such and such town or venue, we'd love to play there, type of thing.
yeah. I mean, hey, it's nice to have a door to knock on and someone to welcome you in. Yeah, I mean, we all sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's really easy how things come together. You're like, no way. How? Oh, we're gonna do that show. Okay, you just didn't even think it was possible. And then sometimes it's like the music world's not in the same place as it was in the sense of like live music where people just flood to go out. It's Friday night. They're going to the club. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, on a Friday night, a brand new band could come to town, and nobody in that town would miss that brand new band, especially if there was like some buzz about it. These days, it's like there's so much, and everything costs so much that people are very selective. So, you know, trying to break into new markets, yeah, you do rely on like, you know, some of the relationships you've made over the years to try and help you get through that door. Besides your music, obviously speaking for you. So
Right. And you mentioned the changing of the times, so to speak. I mean, you all have been playing music for years, so you've seen lots of changes in music and how people relate to music. Uh, Talk about how you have to kind of navigate figuring out how to stand out, especially with the style of music you're doing, because it isn't as much the what is considered pop today, that is really that quick, easily digestible TikTok type of thing. This is music, songwriting, an album to really digest for people. So I would think it takes a lot to kind of figure out how to really present this in this age that many of us haven't grown up in, but we still have to adapt to, because we still want to be
I know,
able to enjoy music and culture.
I know, I we're like artists at this point. Like I don't think this music ever die, and good is good will always finds its way out. So I guess maybe some of it I'm running on faith, but but you know, you try to adapt to how like the technology works, and you know, and kind of place your stuff in wherever you can. But yes, it's, you know, my 8-year-old child, he listens to video game music. You know, he still he'll appreciate Bob Marley or Tom Petty, but you know, at the end of the day, what's setting him off right now, and I can only see that going in that direction. Uh, you know, we find a way in, I think, through shows like this, where, you know, people are that are, you know, are supporting this art form of this genre of music. You know, um, it it's there's probably a lot less avenues these days, but there's still an avenue. You know, I don't know. I have the hope, the faith.
Right, right. We're talking with Johnny Trama of the Reckoners, Rhythm and Soul Radio. The Reckoners has their new project available now, and let everybody know how they can find you guys, how they can find the band, find out information, find out, you know, all the social media, website, all that good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we have a website out, and you can go to reckonersband.com. And we're on most social media platforms. So if you look up Reckoners Music, you'll find us. And, you know, right now the album's streaming on iTunes, Spotify, what is it? A few other platforms.
Trying to remember them all, but
Yeah.
but go to the website and you'll be able to get directed to all of them. And it's reckonersband.com, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, we have people that are trying to help us, like your question just asked, you know, because I know a few times I was like, well, what is that? I don't know what that cool. Or Vuvu or what?
The importance of having a team around you. There you go.
You know.
We mentioned the single, well, what we're calling the single "Looking for a Reason" with Susan Tedeschi. Is there anything in particular to share about the song that people should hear, or you know, to think about as they listen to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, we're just trying to send a positive message, you know, like, you know, there is something to look for, you know, you're feeling something it's, you know, just don't quit. Keep going for it. You know, I know
Yeah.
Tim answer it a lot better than me, but that's where that song kind of came out of. You know, it's definitely a positive message, not a lost message. You know.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Johnny, thank you for taking the time and joining us. We certainly look forward to hearing more music, and when you're down here in the New York area where we're based, or wherever else around the country, as people are listening and watching the YouTube interview, they can hopefully see you guys and enjoy the music and enjoy what you guys are bringing in. We're going to look forward to a second album that you're already writing.
That's right. This one's gonna come out pretty quick too. You know, that's gonna be our goals. Keep feeding music. You know.
Excellent, excellent. We're looking forward to it.
Have it accepted, and you know, so more to come.
Excellent. Well, what's to come right now is Looking for a Reason. The Reckoners, featuring Susan Tedeschi, is Rhythm and Soul Radio. The Reckoners, available now. Go on their website, reckonersband.com. It's Rhythm and Soul Radio.